Okay, Scott, what are we talking about today?
No, today, I kind of wanted to go over the whole people pleaser scenario. The people pleaser scenario is something that, okay, so for those of you that don't know, you will change who you are in order to, make the other person, like you. And that's like the whole premise of it. Let's just start back from the beginning. All right. So when I was going through self-concept, and then we would understand what a value was. So you have a bucket of experiences that you've gone through within your life, and you determine whether or not you did good or bad in those experiences, and then you attach or label them into a value. So let's say that you were honesty was one of your values, and then you would have all these experiences of whatever you did in your past to either label yourself as an honest person or a dishonest person. So those would be examples. And then of course you'd have counter examples, but probably you weren't the most honest. And then you'd have examples where, let's say you were the most honest in a time where you took the brunt of being honest, right? So once you have all these, collected experiences within your bucket of honesty, you could go back and then analyze all this information of all these different experiences that you have. And then when you're using the self-concept model, you ask yourself in a room by yourself, do you know if you're honest or not, or whatever the value is that you're working with? Because everybody has their own interpretations of whatever value that means something to them. So again, with the self-concept model, or NLP or teachings, it could be somewhere else too, is that if you're in a room by yourself, are you this value or are you not this value? So if you say, I'm not this value, then you go back to the experiences that you had where you would want to find out more information about those experiences. And there's a couple different things you can do once you analyze each experience. You could say, like I had mentioned earlier, like, oh, I told my wife she looked good in that dress and I didn't really like it. And then maybe that wasn't like an honest experience. Maybe that was like a kindness value, right? So you just recategorize that experience, and then you would do that with all the experiences you have that were linked to whatever the value were. And by the time you're done transforming and figuring out what's going on with all these experiences, you would sit in a room by yourself and then realize that you are that value no matter what somebody tells you. Now, that was a little bit that was a lot of explanation for something
Can you go
that
in one more thing? I want to like throw one more thing, and it's the one that you're not sure of. It starts with an A.
ambiguous.
Ambiguous. So throw some of that information there about that, and because you can move it towards, you can use the ones you're not sure of and make yourself sure of them.
So to answer that question, there's a again, you would have all the different values that you associate to your identity. And then let's say honesty. I know I'm an honest person. So if I were to cross map the value to my identity, I would say, are you an honest person? And you would say, yes, I am. Let's say, what's another good value? Security. Are you a secure person? And you say, oh, I don't know. So that would be ambiguous. Or sometimes I am, or sometimes I'm not. Well, in work, I feel like I'm really secure, but when I'm at home, I'm not feeling so secure. So sometimes I am, and sometimes I'm not. So you would go to the times where you're not, figure out what's going on with those, and then go, oh, well, you weren't secure with this relationship because you, whatever, for whatever the reason was. But now that you understand this information, it really does build towards your security value, because you have this undesirable outcomes that can tell you that security value means something to your identity. So therefore you are across the board. And then you can work on whatever your actual real life experiences are moving forward with whatever resources that you want to handle whatever's going on with that. So basically, again, building up your confidence to your identity level, and then not worrying about what the atmosphere or what the environment's telling you. So the gist of it all, I know I'm really like generalizing a whole bunch of things just to like get the point out, is that you want to work towards whatever that you want to work towards, and then the people that don't fit in that circle or fit in your vision just won't be there, and then the people that do will be there. With a people pleaser, you lose a lot of things. Like you lose like a lot of the ground, where you'll walk into a room and then change your whole value structure to get the other person to like you. Well, the thing is, you have your equations of how all this stuff works out within your experiences. And when you change who you are, it's like you're trying to manipulate the other person to get you to like you, because you're trying to fit into whatever their equations are for whatever their value structure is. And you lose so much ground doing that. So somebody who's a people pleaser, though, Jeff will bring up the bonuses, but I tend to focus on the negatives. And the reason I focus on the negatives because it's self-degradation, right? Like, so I have a friend of mine who won't take a job at a company because he was friends with the guy who had the job previously, right? So, I won't take that job because I don't want him to think badly of me, even though it could be, detrimental to his well-being or his survival. And there's a bunch of other things we can pivot around just with that one scenario. And then there was another scenario where, I need to move into a new place, and I was going to move in with partner A and partner B. And, partner A is living with me now, but not paying any rent. But I want to move in with partner B, but I won't move in with partner B because partner A, who isn't paying any rent, might think bad of me. So this where you get caught up, where the whole world ends up becoming like your problem. And at the same time, you haven't made any strides towards what your well-formed outcome is. And you won't be able to if you're constantly changing your value structure to map the environment that's around you, or mind reading what people might think of you. Such a scary place to be in from my perspective, looking at it.
No, that's good. No,
I don't even know if I got all the points.
I want to throw some just with you what you said. Okay, so there's not all negative about being a people pleaser. I'm going to throw some good stuff. Like he said, I'm a positive, and he's just showing the other side of that. Is that people pleasers tend to get invited to stuff because people use them. Okay, and the thing about a people pleaser, sometimes they're not setting their boundaries high enough that they don't get abused. Not that they care that they're being abused, but some of them, and just we were talking about somebody who actually did care that he was getting abused, but he still did it. Okay. Now, with those two scenarios that we just talked about, or he just talked about, they both are doing harm to him by going without looking after his well-being because he's helping others or being people pleaser. One scenario was that he won't take his friend. He doesn't want to lose his friend, but the friend's not even paying him rent right now. How's that going to change? And if he needs somebody to help pay rent, he could be on the streets if he doesn't. So there are times for sure that it's time for a people pleaser to change something. We're not saying you have to, should, but if you don't, look what the consequence is. If you do this and you keep going down that road, it's going to not be good for you. We already know that. So we can't tell anybody what to do, but that's that first scenario, that if you don't do something, you're going to have to live somewhere, and you don't live with this other person you can trust, and the person you're living with you can't trust right now because they're not giving you any money. Now, whatever that is, but to say, and the other one, I think it was the company. He says
he didn't take a job because he knew the person who had the position prior, and use that as I don't want this other person to think bad of me, even though you could have many reasons not to take a job, but not to take a job because somebody else may think.
Well, this is where the guy's not having, enough self-confidence to go to the other guy and say, look, because he's not taking the initiative to say, I'm worthy, so I'm going to go to my friend and say, I'm offered this job. I really need this job so I can survive. What is your opinion? Now, if the other friend goes, heck with you, you should just die, then that guy is not a true friend. So sometimes you have to save yourself first, and it's not like you're going after to hurt your friend, because you came to him and said, hey, I have an opportunity to pay my bills. Would that be okay with you? And if he says no, he says, well, could you pay my bills? Well, he says no, then why wouldn't you want me to pay my bills? And it's like, well, I just don't, so you have an argument there. At one point, you're going to have to decide somewhere in your life what's right for you. Now, not stepping on toes, but let's go back to the things that are benefit of people pleasers.
Please, yeah, please tell me.
Okay. I know, Scott, you're going, what's the benefits? One is they're kind of like a chameleon. They walk into the room and they just seem like they have no conflict with anybody, because they don't, because they're just going to go and do whatever anybody does. So they are setting themselves up for abuse and users. You know, a people pleaser is going to be kind of like a giver, whatever they want them to do. Oh, go get me a beer. Okay. Go do this, go do that. They're the go-to, but they don't have if they don't put their voice, their opinion out, because either they don't feel worthy or they're afraid they'll lose their friendship. You're going to probably find a people pleaser in every big group. There's going to be one of them, because they're the one that everybody says, oh, they're so nice. They always do this for everybody. They never do anything, for themselves. The problem with that is, after a while, just like you said, the friend he gets mad that he says, that's not right for people to use me and everything. And that's a realization that they come to, is like, this isn't really where I want to be. And that's where you come to us, because now we can explain what just happened, and you can change if you want. We can't make you change, but you can say, you can set those boundaries, Scott. We can set those boundaries. And
that's the thing. So you could be in a loop and not even realize that that's what you're in, right? Like you keep doing the same steps and you're like, oh man, I don't understand. I'm just getting this. That's weird
exactly
result.
why they come.
Yeah, right.
They come to us and we can help them see. That's what we use with the NLP. We open it up. We get them different options so they can take it, but they're not even seeing the loop they're in. And when you find it, you can really find one of these people who are who probably can't help themselves at that point and they need a little bit of help, is when they're I'm going to say it anyway, bitching. Okay, that's a big word, but still, they're blaming other people on everything they've done themselves. So, and the truth is, till you take 100% of your responsibility for who you are and what you do, you're never going to be the full person you can be. Now, no, I'm not saying everybody reaches that, but full potential, whatever happens to you, it's because of the decisions you made all your life. I'm not saying bad things don't happen to good people, like a car wreck or lightning strikes or, things we can't deal with, but we're going to have to deal with them anyway. But we have to take responsibility how we deal with them.
If you're changing yourself to every environmental, circumstance that you come into, then you can't be mad at the environment who I guess seems to be beating you down because they can't figure out, what you are or what you stand for type thing.
I love that right there. Remember, what's our saying right there? Stand for something
or you fall for everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good place to put that. If you want to see if you're one of these people who are a people pleaser, just think of all the times you did something for somebody. And then when did that threshold come and say, they're using me? And did you get mad? Now, are you angry about this? If you start using the blame game, you're in deep. And so this is when you want to go together. Right? Yeah, the whole world's fault. And it's your fault. Believe it or not. And this is a terrible, shitty thing about it. It is actually your fault, because it's not what happens in the world. It's how you deal with it. And every decision you make, it was your decision. It doesn't matter if you let somebody manipulate you to that decision, or you had to take that, or whatever, because the world's always going to be coming at you. So you're going to have to become the person you want to do to survive this world. But to blame the world, that's where, if you're blaming anything on anybody, you want to say, is this really true? Is it true? Is it really true? And then put it back on you. Could it be on me, or is it really true? And if it's really true, that's the time you have to put up your guard and say, I'm not going to take it. No, I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to take it anymore. And then just say, tomorrow's the first day of the rest of my life. What can I do?
Right now.
Scott.
It starts now.
Scott can,
yeah. Go to the website, get some programs, level up.
Yes, definitely come to our channel, sign up. We got stuff to give you too. Free
Happiness
5-day
journey journal.
challenge. I got a happiness. What do you got? What do you?
Empowerment, narcissist abuse empowerment coaching pamphlet to get you up and running for. If first of all, you got to see if you're in a narcissistic relationship, and then figure out what to do from there. Yeah, we have a bunch of free stuff on our mailing list. Make sure to sign up for that. Also, we have a few free things on the shop, so you can get to know us a little bit better. That's going to be pretty much it for now. Let's get your mind right.
Let's get your mind right, buddy. Woo!
You can do it.
We can do it. You can do it.
All right.